equal to me or maybe slightly less, but you're not going to have to pay
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up, YouTube?
Yo. Yeah, right up.
What's good?
What's up?
The temperature, dude. It must be like 130 outside.
Yeah, no,
It's the surface of the sun.
Yeah, I had to mow the lawn
Almost.
this morning, and it was pretty fucking brutal. Then you know what's not fun though? Well, in general, mowing the lawn isn't fun. But
You push mow, Dave?
Right.
yes, I push mow.
Oh, that sucks.
But normally, like edging the lawn isn't a problem. It's when you're edging the lawn, and I don't know what edgers you guys have, if you have any, whatever. But like I'm edging the
We're
lawn.
talking about an edger or a weed eater.
I call they're probably this one and the same. They're
Does it have the string on it?
yes.
Okay, it's a weed eater.
I don't use it for weeds, but sure. So I'm edging my lawn, and the fucking string just fucking all of a sudden I'm edging, everything's fine. All of a sudden it's just not edging anymore, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And the fucking string is just fucking whoop, just fucking yeeted off of the end of the edger. So I have to stop and put on gloves because the end of this thing is hot as balls. You know you can't just grab it with your hands, and
I know, that shit gets hot.
it's a nightmare. But anyway,
I hate
That sounds like a shitload of fuck.
it is. Yep.
Josh be paying people to mow his yard.
I live in an apartment.
Yeah, you pay that shit.
That's true, I guess. Hey, while talking about lawn care is super exciting.
Yeah.
Listen, we're here to talk about a landmark moment in most of our lives here. Yeah.
And yours probably.
this-
Listening.
Yeah. So this past week on August 12th, that was actually the 30-year anniversary of the release of Metallica's Black Album, or self-titled Metallica, whatever you want to call it. Everybody calls it the Black Album.
Yeah.
So we thought this would be a timely opportunity to spend a little time waxing poetic about how good the Black Album is this week.
Yeah, that's pretty above average.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I would tell you I devoted about 3 solid days of listening to it this week, and I got to listen to it more. I rediscovered some songs on there that I really like, and I really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't say I avoid this album necessarily on a normal listen, but I just don't seek it out. You avoid it?
I definitely avoid the hits on this album completely. Like I don't voluntarily listen to Enter Sandman, wherever I may roam, Sad but True, Nothing Else Matters. Basically, like the first 6 or 7 songs on this record, I actively, I would say under normal circumstances, I think I skip these like when they come up randomly in my playlist. Not because they're not good, but because I've heard
played
them
out
so many times. So
There's rarely a song on here I skip.
It's a great album.
it is.
So we thought this would be good podcast. We thought this would be good podcast content this week. So that's what we're doing. We're breaking down the classic, the Black Album. So that's what we're going to be getting into here in a minute. Just a heads up for those YouTubers out there, we're going to be going back to the AFI list next week, where we're going to be doing the number 88 movie.
Hell yeah!
Bringing Up Baby.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
1938 classic. So, if you're interested in such things, go ahead and give that a watch and get ready to blow your fucking skirt up.
Yeah. Have you seen it, Josh?
In the meantime, fuck no. I got time for that.
Josh, you should fix your video before we get started.
God fucking damn it, piece of shit.
That's not that bad.
Who was I talking to about this at work the other day, and they were asking me questions about it, and I was like, I have no idea what this is that I have to turn off and on sometimes to make it work, But they were offering me tips here, and I was like, I don't know. Hold on a second.
All right.
All right, how we doing?
Doing good.
All right. We ready to go?
Yes.
Hell
sir.
yeah.
Oh my God! Did it take you that long to answer me there?
No.
No, we said go.
Yeah, we.
Oh, I guess you guys were like laggy there.
Oh,
Or
but we're
maybe
not
I'm
anymore,
laggy.
right?
I don't know.
Pull it.
No.
Okay.
Pull it, Josh. Pull it. Misdirect
Turn the
incoming.
Wi-Fi off my damn fucking phone and shit here. All right, we good?
Yeah.
Misdirect
Do I sound
incoming.
like I'm too close to this thing this week? I feel like I was like super loud last week.
No, you sound
you
okay.
sound good.
You sound good.
All right. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Do it. Do it.
Hello, and welcome to Three Guys and a Mic presents a classic album review, Metallica, The Black Album. I'm your co-host, the Human Dart, along with
Jason's Tsunami.
And David Disaster.
Look at that.
Hey,
One
Oh,
One
yeah.
shot. Loose shit.
what up? What's
One
good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just get through the pleasantries here so we can get to the good stuff. It's hot outside. Nobody likes working outside.
Nope.
There's lots of crime in the world. And
both of our
football's
NFL
back.
both of our NFL teams are Garbo.
Yep.
For those wondering, that's the Texans for Josh and I, and unfortunately the Cowboys for Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, good. We're done with all that. Let's get to the good stuff here. So, am I cutting in and out? Am I good?
You're good,
No,
sir.
you're good.
Perfect. So, we spent about 4 days this week, maybe 5 days, I don't know, really trying to figure out what the fuck were we going to talk about this week. And we were tossing around all kinds of bracket ideas. Dave was just tossing out terrible idea after terrible idea. They were shit.
Awful.
Jesus.
Absolute shit. They were hundreds on the shit-o-meter, Dave.
That's not even
and
possible.
then I woke up on August 12th, and I open up my phone, I look at my Twitter, and I realize, oh, look at that. It's the 30-year anniversary of the Black Album today. And we thought, and for those that may not know what the Black Album is, Metallica's Black Album, not like Jay-Z's Black Album, not Spinal Tap's, None More Black. Smell the Glove, whatever you want to call it. This is Metallica's Black Album. And we thought it would be just a really good, timely opportunity to review. I don't know anybody that would say this is the best metal album of all time, but certainly probably the most popular metal album of all time.
Yeah, it might be the best selling, maybe.
Hey, Dave, don't jump ahead, but I'm going to give you some stats that are going to, they're going to tell you that answer in a second.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, we're all big Metallica fans here. If you go back and listen to our catalog, you'll notice a lot of terrible podcasts when we talk about The Witcher, and we talk about Hunters, and we talk about
Star Trek.
we talk about a Star Wars book and all kinds of stuff. But then our life changes because then we open up and we do our first bracket, which ends up being the top 32 Metallica songs of all time.
Yeah, it's a two.
And I would recommend two-parter. I'd recommend if you're going to go back into our catalog, if this is the first time you've checked us out, start there, please. Don't listen to the stuff before that, unless you just like punishment.
Because I don't listen.
Yeah, I don't either. So you'll notice there that we're pretty big Metallica fans, and I know we've talked about, especially Enter Sandman and things like that on that bracket at length, as far as what that song means to us, and we'll get a chance to talk about it again tonight. But not to draw this out too much, but obviously, like I said, we're all very big Metallica fans, and this was a huge album for. I think for all of us. I mean, certainly for me, this was the first Metallica album I ever heard.
Yeah, I mean,
so this is the album that brought me into not only into Metallica but into metal in general.
So I've said this before, but I'm 36 years old. So I would have been
You're
6.
old.
Yeah, I would have been 6 when this album came out, and my real memory starts at about 5 years old. Right, everything before that is like just JPEGs and stuff like that. Like it's not full on video yet. So I mean, some of my first real memories of music are some of the music videos from this album, because Metallica was at that time, in '91, completely taking over the world. So I do have memories of that pretty distinctly.
Yeah.
Jason,
you remember your first dance with this album?
My first, let's see, it would have to be the Enter Sandman music video. Now, I know that a lot of people listening to this podcast don't know this, but they used to have a channel on television. It was called MTV, where they actually played music videos. Like
bullshit.
No, like 20 hours of the 24 hours in a day.
Music television is what it's called.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a concept that I don't know. Maybe it's coming back. I don't know.
So Jason,
and, that's where I saw this song, and now I was familiar with Metallica. I had their priors. My first was Master of Puppets on tape,
cassette.
but I did have all of their prior catalog. But this was how I heard this song first, was this music video.
So did you have anticipation, if you can remember? Was there anticipation of this album coming out, or like back then did you just kind of go with the flow and like, oh, this new album came out, okay, cool, I might buy it?
You mean personally, myself, or
yes.
like in general? Like,
no, I meant you. I mean you.
Oh no, I did not keep up with when albums were going to. Now, again, I know this is going to sound crazy, but we didn't really have the internet all that much back then. So you couldn't just like pull up the Google machine and go, hey, when's the next Metallica album coming out? Like you had to go buy magazines. I was not a magazine guy. So when you heard new music, it was on the radio or
Jason, you weren't like music magazine kind of guy, right?
Oh shit.
No, I wasn't.
You were just reading the articles. Yeah, I got you, bro.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what it was for me. Like, so when this music video hit, that's when I became like, I got to have this album.
Nice.
Now,
yeah,
for both of you, because you're younger, what was the very first song you heard from this album? Do y'all remember?
Yeah, first song I heard was Enter Sandman when I was 11 years old, sitting on the bus, and my buddy had his Walkman, and he's like, "Hey, bro, check this out." And I put it on, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? Holy shit!" Yeah, and he let me borrow the tape, and I went home. And for those of you who don't know what a cassette is, you had to play it and rewind it. This wasn't just like where you could skip songs here, like play the album, and you got to rewind it all the way back to the front when you're done with it.
And you got to flip it over if you want to hear the next 6 songs.
Yeah, so I listened to Enter Sandman about 100 times, and I listened to the first couple of notes of Sad But True about 100 times, because as soon as Sad But True would come on, I'd be like, nope, rewind, and I'd go back up to Enter Sandman. So that was my introduction to the album. As far as just the album itself with Enter Sandman, the first time I listened to the full album, I don't remember, like the first time I listened to anything past Enter Sandman. It took me... I told the story about Master of Puppets before, where I bought Master of Puppets, listened to it once, and put it in my CD book, and didn't come back to it for a year. So I don't remember my first like full listen of the Black Album, but I definitely remember Enter Sandman.
So for me, like I said, I saw music videos as a small child, but nobody really likes music at that age, most people anyway. And it wasn't until like 7th grade, a friend of mine was a big Metallica fan. I wasn't really even into music too much, other than like whatever was popular on alternative rock radio or whatever. And he showed me Ride the Lightning, which was the first album that I heard from Metallica. And then from there I was hooked, and I just subsequently just went through and just as I got money from allowance and whatever, bought Metallica albums. And I don't remember specifically, like, it just kind of bought them in order, or like as I saw the new ones, like ones that I didn't have, I would just buy them. So that's how I got introduced to it. So it wasn't until about 7th grade. I don't know how old I would have been at that time, but until I really was fully invested into the Black Album and Metallica as a whole. But
yeah, so what we're gonna do here is, after we just get a chance to talk here right at the top, is we're just gonna talk about a few stats about the album as far as like album sales and a couple other accolades. We'll talk about the band members. We're gonna talk about the producer for this album, which I think made a big change for the band here. And we'll have a couple of questions, and then we're just going to basically go in reverse, and we're going to do a little song-by-song breakdown, starting with The Struggle Within and work on our way down to Enter Sandman. So just to kind of get started here with some of the stats. So, excuse me, the Black Album came out August 12th, 1991. So one other notable thing that happened that year is Nielsen SoundScan started actually tracking real album sales that year for the first time ever. Before that, like if an album was platinum, it was based on how many albums were shipped out to be sold. So this is the first year actually that we're tracking real album sales. Metallica, since that year, this album is the highest selling album in the United States since March 1st, 1999.
Jesus.
So, yep. And that's inclusive of anybody, any genre, any artist.
That's strong.
So, yeah, this album has sold 16,830,000 copies since then. The next album, if you guys were curious, belongs to Shania Twain, Come On Over. It's over 1 million records behind the Black Album.
I do not have that one in my catalog.
You don't have Shania?
No, I don't know how I let that one slip through.
Because whose bed have your boots been under? Anyway. And then the third album, in case anybody want to know, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, which I did have.
I did have that one.
I thought the Eagles' greatest hits was up there as well. There was they had a greatest hits one that's probably top 10.
Yeah, a lot of that came out in the 80s. And so I think the bulk of it sold prior to that. This is everything kind of post March 1, 1999.
Gotcha.
So there are certainly higher selling albums in totality for sure. I mean, there's Beatles albums and Michael Jackson albums and stuff, but since they really started tracking like that particular number of albums sales, Metallica is the leader. So one other cool thing here, obviously they won the Grammy that year. We talked about that on the Megadeth pod. They won the Grammy that year for the Black Album in 1992 for Best Metal Performance. In December 2019, this album became the 4th album ever to enter the 550-week milestone on the Billboard Top 200. So that means from the day it released until this time in December 2019, it had spent not consecutively, but 550 total weeks on the Billboard Top 200 chart.
That's ridiculous.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
A little bit successful.
Yeah, just a little bit. So like I said, they became the 4th album to do that. The other 3 albums, so there was Journey's Greatest Hits and The Best of Bob Marley. And then the number 1 album by a fucking mile is Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon. That album has spent 937 weeks.
I feel like nobody's catching that shit.
Nah, fuck no. I mean, at this time, Metallica had only 500, the last metric I saw for it, and Bob Marley and Journey had 539. So they're about 400 weeks behind it.
Pink Floyd is gone.
I think they're going to hold on to it. So, obviously, so the main 3 members of the band, and these are the 3 members that have been there since day one. James Hetfield, rhythm guitar vocals, Lars Ulrich, drums, Kirk Hammett, lead guitar, and then you had Jason Newsted on bass, which this was his 2nd album.
Yeah.
So this album is really, really good. We're going to talk about the producer here in a minute, but one interesting anecdote I thought how hard do you think it is to make the best-selling album of all time on the members of this band?
I mean,
I think this is
on them?
probably like, yeah, I mean, just knowing what I know about them, I mean, it kind of ruined their lives, like behind the scenes.
Lars, Kirk, and Jason Newsted all went through a divorce during the recording of this album.
Holy shit.
That's what it costs to make the fucking greatest, the greatest album in the history of fucking metal.
He's doing quotes for the podcast.
Yeah. I am curious. You know that they didn't go into it expecting to do this, but I do think taking on a producer that really wanted to push them, one thing led to another, and then the next thing you know, you're kind of down the rabbit hole of creating something magical.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, right? Like that was something I was thinking about. Like, do you guys think that any of them knew? Like, was there any point in the situation where they were like, we might truly have something special here? Because, like, let me paint the picture here, right? These are the same guys I say just, but, who more or less just got done rapping on the And Justice for All tour, which was one of the which is their most complex metal album or album in general to date.
By far.
By a lot. And, super brutal. And, prior to that, they had Master Puppets, Ride the Lightning, Kill 'Em all thrash metal classics. So I just don't know if, get these guys ever.
If you hear them talk about it, like if you go back and you watch the classic albums for it, or if you watch the year and a half, Lars seems to be the only one that really has the idea that this is going to be more than just the next good Metallica album.
Like, I feel like they were just like, okay, we fucking kill ourselves writing and touring on it and Justice for All. And from what I remember, I recall, it wasn't the writing on the And Justice for All album that caused them to want to scale it back. It was the grueling live touring on that album, having to play all of those songs live, and it's just like it was such a toll that they were like, okay, we're gonna fucking take a step back on this next one, because that shit's hard.
Well, I do know that there was an interview. I don't remember exactly when it was with Hetfield saying that when they decided on the next album, he wanted it to be shorter, less technical, more tighter sequencing, I guess, if you want to call it like that, as far as the next song. Like, so when you think about it, like what you're saying, when you come off a tour like that, and you're finally gonna, I wouldn't say take a break, but do something that's probably more chill and more fun, it just lends itself to something happening that turned out really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, to Dave's point, when he's talking about And Justice for All being their most technical album, I think it's like they kind of they get deep in the weeds in this album, where, I mean, like, some of these songs are just really drawn out. They're great and very technical, but some of them are just very, very drawn out. And you can really tell, like, who's producing the album, right? Like, like Flemming Rasmussen gets the credit for producing the album, but it's James and Lars, right? Because you'll even hear them say this. What's the loudest two things on the album? The guitars and the fucking drums. There's no bass, and that's the running joke for Metallica fans out there. But it's not a fucking joke. There's no goddamn bass on that album whatsoever.
And they've actually since, like, they have since acknowledged it in interviews. They didn't acknowledge it early on, like at the time when Jason was still in the band, which is probably when they should have acknowledged it. But they have acknowledged it since then. That, I mean, they literally sabotaged his playing on the record. I mean, they just turned it down, and they didn't want to hear it, which is kind of a fucked up thing, honestly. But we'll talk about that another day. But
I mean, I think this is really what was the catalyst for them bringing in like a real producer. And so now you enter in Bob Rock, where, you know, he wasn't, I'm going to give you a list of bands and artists that he's worked with here. And he didn't work with all these before. He worked with Metallica, obviously, but just to kind of give you an idea of the level of people Bob Rock is working with here. But so just for Metallica alone, he produced the Black Album, Load, Reload, Garage Inc., S&M, I Disappear, and Saint Anger. He was a sound engineer on Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet, and he also became the kind of their go-to producer for the next couple albums after that. He's done a bunch of Motley Crue albums. He won a Grammy for a Michael Bublé album. He's worked with Our Lady Peace, The Offspring, 311, Skid Row, David Lee Roth, The Cult, Cher. I mean, I just gave you the highlights. The list on fucking Wiki is like, you know, longer than my Johnson, right?
That's a pretty short list.
I was gonna do
yeah,
that.
It's a very short list.
So like 3 people.
Yeah. But I mean, this guy, I mean, he was known for making like I don't want to say pop records, but like just really, really good hooky records. Like if you go back and listen to Dr. Feelgood from Motley Crue, like, dude, the fucking quality of the songs on that album and just the way everything sounds is phenomenal.
That was the first album that was the first CD I ever purchased.
Boom. So you were immediately living in Bob Rock's world right there.
Yep.
So you can't deny the impact he had on the band just listening to this album versus the first 4 right there.
I mean, he and hindsight, right? He ended up kind of becoming a 5th member of the band. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even say kind of. I mean, I think he just actually did. You know, all the way from 91 through 2003 with Saint Anger, right?
Yeah. Now, Bob Rock, I mean, he gets, I think from a lot of the traditional, you know, first 4 album fans, I think Bob Rock certainly gets a lot of shit. Because, I mean, it's a huge right turn. You got Black Album, and then you immediately go into Load and Reload, which are 2 very big departures from Metallica's history. I think that's what makes the Black Album really different in their catalog, and what makes it so good is I think you still have this band that really has this aggression in them and really still has like this kind of speed thrash metal thing going. And then you have Bob Rock, who likes to make like really good, hooky, good sounding records, and they're both meeting at the same time, and they're both pulling each other to this side, right? So Metallica doesn't go full on, let me slow down and do like the overproduction thing.
Yeah.
And Bob Rock pulls them closer to that. So I think like, obviously this is the album that gets them to Load and Reload. So this is the album that they fight with Bob Rock. I mean, if you listen to anything or read any other interviews, like when they finished recording this, neither one of them ever wanted to see each other again. Like Metallica and Bob Rock never wanted to be in the same room ever again after recording this album. Like they were not in good space after that. And I think that friction, I think it's what really made this album great.
Yeah, it's when they started liking each other more, which, you know, obviously you enjoyed the subsequent albums. But
a lot of people don't, right? And a lot of they're very panned.
Yeah, so I
think the tension between the 2 of them here is really what made this album legendary.
Very easy for me to make the statement I'm about to make, but if they could have just kept this lightning in a bottle, like, I mean, so obvious.
Each other, Dave.
Well, yes, but I mean, like, I think what I'm trying to say is, I guess musically, I feel like this is the space they should have continued to try to stay in, and I think they would have been fine. But obviously, every artist wants to evolve and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's it's tough, man. I mean, they all have differing, musical tastes, and so. I think once they got a taste of what good production could be and what they could take their songs into and how they could just be really different, I think they got super excited by that. And I think you see that on a couple of these songs. There's a couple of deep cuts on here where these could be load songs, and like they're very produced, and they take chances with some of these songs. So it's kind of cool, but you still get the songs like Through the Never and Holier Than Thou that are still like fucking bangers, right? Mm-hmm. Where that's the last time you really get songs like that until you get to
Death Magnetic.
Yeah, I was gonna say some people might say Saint Anger, but probably Death Magnetic would be the next time you really get songs kind of like those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other thoughts on Bob Rock or anything like that?
Not me.
Nope.
Let's jump in.
So we just had we had a couple of questions here before we got into before we just really got into the breakdown of the songs here. So, Jason, we'll do your question first here, but so 12 songs on this record.
Yep.
You know, I would say majority of these songs are really, really good, but there are some skippers. You know, there are some that are maybe not quite as good. If you were going to remake this album right now and you had to cut it down to 11 songs, Dave, which song would you cut?
Instantly, I would go with A Wolf and Man. I feel like if you look at the track, like the track listing, and you just kind of, I just feel like it's the low-hanging fruit on the record. Like, and we'll get to it, but I'm not a huge fan of the lyrics of the song. I think the solo is one of the weaker guitar solos on the album, and just overall, like, no, look, I'm biased. It's still Metallica, so it still is kind of like better than probably 50% of the material out there in metal, but I still would probably cut it. I don't think, if I'm being really honest, I don't think it's a great song.
Yeah.
Dang,
I
guess I should have went first. Mine's the same song of Wolf and Man, and it's mostly the lyrics. Like it's not a bad song. I mean, but it's the only song on this album that I will usually skip.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you agree, Jason, because I don't know where Josh is going to go, so I want to say this before he goes. But I feel like thematically, Jason, tell me if you agree. Like, I feel like thematically, it's the only song that doesn't really fit with the rest, like the whole theme of the other songs on the album. Like,
it's hard to tell because like some of these songs, when you hear about the origin of the songs, it's like there's some fucked up shit in this songs as far as where the song originated from. So I mean, I can see where he's going with the song of Wolf and Man, but to your point, it doesn't feel like it fits on this album.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny is probably like 4 days ago, before we kind of came up with the idea that we were going to do this, I would have agreed with you guys. As I've been going through and really re-listening to this album quite a bit, God, I find myself just really slogging to get through Don't Tread on Me.
It's
not good. Yeah. It's not good, man. I mean, like I said, I don't want to waste all my notes here, but this song is nothing special, and quite frankly, it's pretty fucking corny.
Yeah, it has.
If you ask me,
it has some good parts, but yeah, I agree. It does have some. It does have some parts where you're just kind of, okay.
Yeah, we'll get to it because I do have some thoughts on Don't Tread on Me as well.
Yeah. So who is just before we get into the rest of the songs here, who is the MVP of this record for you guys? Jason, you kind of gave us an answer earlier, so I'll let you take the floor first here.
I don't know which direction you guys are to go, but for me, it's Hetfield, and I'll say this because even though I don't mind his singing on all the prior albums or the other albums after this. This is my favorite tone that he stays in, and his guitar riffing for this album. There's just even the songs that we would say we would get rid of, I can still sit there and just feel the guitar, and a lot of these lyrics, fantastic.
Yeah,
and he's the main songwriter, so
yeah,
he'd be my MVP.
So I mean, I'll go next, Josh, but I'll just piggyback a little bit on what Jason said. As far as James' vocals, I mean, I will agree with Jason on that because I think this was just like James Hetfield at the like perfect age, right? Like,
yeah.
I think And
You
Justice
still
for
get all the aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I think And Justice for All is probably, if the production on Injustice for All was better, I feel like that album and this album would probably be equal in terms of his recorded vocal performance, right? Like, but I would definitely give the nod to this just because the production is infinitely better than it was on Justice. But I did. This was not going to be my pick. This would not have been my pick if I wouldn't have listened to this album a couple of times all the way through in this last week or the last, I guess, 3 or 4 days. But I think Kirk Hammett, his guitar solos on this record, I think this is so, without making it go for really long, but like, Kill 'Em All, he didn't really get the showcase because he had just joined the band. He doesn't have any writing credits on that album, so he's just kind of doing the solos that were there, right? And obviously, Ride the Lightning, Master Puppets, and Just for All, like, phenomenal stuff. But like, I think he sounds truly inspired on these guitar solos on this record. Even the songs that are super played out for me, I can hum along to every one of these guitar solos, like without missing a single note. And I can't necessarily do that with every one of their albums. So, I mean, it's got to be for me, Kirk Hammett.
Damn it, Dave! You stole my fucking answer, dude. It's like just going back and I mean, I already knew like these solos are good. And to Dave's point, like these are like lyrics of songs. Like you can hum along and sing along to these solos. That's how good and memorable they are. And you can't leave out the fact that he wrote the main riff for Enter Sandman.
Yep.
So, regardless what your personal opinion is on Enter Sandman and how many times you listen to it and whatnot, like Metallica ain't Metallica today if Enter Sandman doesn't come out.
Oh, that's
so. So I absolutely 100% agree. It's got to be Kirk Hammett. His playing on this album is unfucking touchable.
Oh, I agree.
I just had Bob Rock as a secondary choice as well as far as the MVP for the record, just for everything we talked about with Bob Rock as far as pulling them into this direction and really challenging them to be a lot better.
Yep.
So, all right, here we go. So like I said, we got 12 songs here on the album. We're gonna break them down. We're gonna go in reverse. That way we end up here with Enter Sandman. So if you're only waiting to hear Enter Sandman, sorry about your luck, bro. You're gonna have to wait. But I think we're gonna start with Struggle Within here, and I think this is a good one for Jason here, if I remember correctly. Jason.
Yeah, this might be my favorite song on this album, and it's silly as this might sound. There's the kind of the section right after they go out of the
guitar solo.
The guitar solo. And they come back in, and there's about 11 seconds where, like, my ears orgasm. Like, I can listen to that.
You get that. You get the end of the solo. You get that.
Yeah.
Go.
Dude, I
that's
could
gonna
listen
get
to
so
that.
annoying.
I could get that on loop. I could probably listen to that for 30 or 40 minutes straight.
Bro, that shit was your ringtone for like 4 years.
Oh God, it was. I wish I could get that back. I made that ringtone myself. It was fantastic.
Just a small warning: there may be quite a few like chug sounds on this podcast that we're gonna do involuntarily, and it's just gonna happen. So
this song, the lyrics, the angst, man, this song was like. This was like one of my go-to songs back in high school.
I really like this song. I think it's a solid closer. This song to me, I don't know if you felt this way, Josh or Jason, but I almost felt like if this song was a little bit more sped up, this could have been on an earlier Metallica record. Like, I feel like it's just slowed down just enough to fit onto this record. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But I love the chorus. I love the layering on Jason on James's voice when he's like struggle with that, and like I don't know, I just love the way it sounds. Like it's super good. So I this is definitely one of the deeper cuts. I think the back half of this whole album is super underappreciated.
Yeah, very much. I had just a couple notes on it. This was the song it probably took me the longest to like. I was not like, it took me a long time to get through that. Not the intro with the drums and the harmony guitars, but just the riff where it's like like I was like, and then he comes in with his vocals. I was like, I don't know, that it took me a long time. And once I really kind of got past that, this song really kind of grew on me very, very quickly. I think the solo is really good on this album, and we're going to say that quite a bit, I think. I just like the fact, like Dave, you said, it's like, it's slowed down enough to where it belongs on this record, but it could have been on an earlier record. But I just have on here that the song is short and heavy, and that just the part after the go, that little riff right there, just definitely one of the best moments on the record for me.
I get goosebumps just thinking about that.
I'll say this right now.
Dude, I had that shit fucking cranked this week.
You call it, Josh. Like the first line, reaching out for something, you got to feel like that.
That feel.
That is the cringiest shit ever.
No,
but
look, I'm not going to disagree.
But hold on. But like you get that, and you just got to like make it through that one line, and then you're in, right? But that first line is a little rough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But overall, the song is fantastic.
Yeah, I won't disagree with you on that. And to like the part that took Josh the open for the riff, I always loved it. I could turn it on, especially if I was in a foul mood. The teenage angst, the whole. Yes, man, I just turn it up to 11 and just go.
These amps go to 11. Yeah. But yeah, just a great song, and I don't think this would show up on any. I mean, look, it didn't make our top 32 list.
No.
I don't think this song probably shows up on a lot of people's top 32 list, but just a good deep cut, man.
Very good.
And just writing credits for that song were just Hetfield and Ulrich. So next song on the album there, the 11th song is My Friend in Misery. And writing credits this time, you get Hetfield, Ulrich, and you do get Jason Newsted. And I think that's probably pretty obvious based on the intro to this album that Jason Newsted had a lot to do with this one. And Dave, I know you had some thoughts on the Jason Newsted Metallica relationship, so I don't know if you just want to uncork that right now or what.
Yeah, so just a little bit of backstory on this song specifically. Jason Newsted had wrote this specifically with the thought process that Metallica was going to use this as their instrumental, because they were going to continue the trend of, up to this point, their first 4 albums, they had an instrumental. Now, I'd argue that the instrumental that's on Kill 'Em All is like, it barely qualifies as an instrumental.
Yeah.
But the other 3 albums after it all have instrumentals as well. And so that was kind of the thought process, but James and the boys basically took that and were like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and turn this into just a regular ass song. Now, I do want to say that the song is amazing, but I feel like this is just a slight detour because there's no other place to talk about this. This is only the second writing credit that Jason Newsted has had with the band in his second full album with the band. Spoiler alert, he only gets one more writing credit after this in his entire career with the band.
Yeah. Where the Wild Things Are on Reload.
Yeah. So, Jason Newsted was not ever, in my opinion, a truly respected member of the band. He was always seen as the guy who replaced their dead band member, Cliff Burton.
He was just the bass player, Dave.
Yeah. So that's true. You would know that.
Yes, I would do.
No, but in all seriousness, like I feel like this is kind of this to me would have been, in my mind, the start of the kind of tension that would inevitably lead to Newsted leaving the band. I mean, he just never was really truly taken seriously, and this is a guy who, when he was plucked from Flotsam and Jetsam, he was the principal songwriter for that band. He had writing credits on nearly or every song on their first record, Doomsday for the Deceiver. And even when he left the band to join Metallica, he gave them 3 or 4 or 5 songs that gave them 3 or 4 or 5 like songwriting credits that he was working on for them, and said, "Hey, go ahead and just use this for your next album, even though I'm not going to be on it." So I mean. Yeah. He had,
and for those like sleeping on maybe that, I'm sorry, Dave, but for those sleeping on that first album, that Doomsday for Deceiver from Flotsam and Jetsam, like go check that out. That's good shit.
It is. It's really good. And so I mean, Newsted was clearly, like, obviously it's all subjective, but he was clearly capable of writing material and producing. He was talented, but he was just never. We'll never know, honestly, because he was never utilized to his potential in Metallica. And it's kind of a shame, because the credits he does have, Blackened, My Friend of Misery, and Where the Wild Things Are, and all 3 of those songs are pretty damn good. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's my Newsted story.
Yeah, for My Friend of Misery, this is probably the song I've listened to the least amount on this album, just in general.
I love it.
And not because it's look, the back half of the song or the back half of the album?
Back half of this song.
Yeah.
Go into that slow
where you get the little volume swell, that
is that over the bass solo?
Yeah.
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 That's fantastic. I love that part.
Musically, like, this song is really good. I don't know why. Especially after listening to it probably 4 or 5 times in the last few days, like, it's going to be back in the normal rotation for me. But for whatever reason, it's just something I haven't been drawn to. But I think the lyrics on this record, Dave, you I think you made this as a throwaway comment. I don't think you really meant this. But like, hey man, we're going to take the song and just slap some fucking lyrics on it. These are some good lyrics.
No, it is. No, I was kind of joking.
This isn't bullshit. Yeah.
No,
but this is not bullshit by any means.
No, this actually, the lyrics are really, really fucking good. And I mean, I don't know necessarily what James had in mind when he wrote the lyrics or who he's referring to. But they, I'm sure you can do multiple interpretations of this, but I mean, it's excellent stuff.
Yeah. I just had on here for some of my notes. This is a song I was kind of referencing earlier where I said this song could be on Load and Reload. Because I feel like this is a song they took the most chances on production-wise. Like, if you really listen to this and you're just really trying to listen to it from a production standpoint and, like, the additional sounds and things they put into this record, you can really hear, like, they put a lot of time and effort, and they took a lot of chances on this song. Kind of referencing the musical part that you guys talked about. Just the way the first solo comes in, it's got kind of a weird effect to it. Yep. I don't know how to explain it, but it got kind of a weird effect. So they really took some chances with some different sounds with this song. And I think it came out really, really good. Like I said, I found myself really jamming this song over the last few days, probably more so than I thought I would.
No, it's a really, really good song. Very underappreciated, and actually, like, I don't know if I've ever heard this song live, like in its entire version. But I know they did. For Cunning Stunts, they did play the the middle part with Jason and Kirk. The little interlude, like solo, they did do that live.
Yeah, so. Dave, what if I told you they've only played this song in its entirety 18 times ever?
That's crazy.
Wow,
it's not the least amount of any song on this album. But
is it Escape? Oh, we said album. Okay, yeah, you said album.
Yeah, just this album.
Oh, okay, but it's not the least played song on this album.
No, it's not.
Oh, wow.
It's a tie with The Struggle Within, which is only 17 times, and then one little tasty morsel I'll save for later.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yep.
That's Jason, any thoughts on Misery?
No, man. The back half of that song is solid gold. If the front half of the song was as good as the back half of the song, this might be my favorite song.
Yeah. Well, speaking of favorite songs, let's move on to my favorite song here because that's the God that fucking failed.
That's a good. It's a good pick.
Man, this is another song that I came to much later in my time with this album. I don't know why, but I don't know if I just needed to know what the song was about, or maybe I just needed older ears to hear it, but I mean, this fucking song has everything. Yes. It's got just a fucking like groovy fucking riff. It's simple and heavy. Obviously we know like James Hetfield was pushed very, very hard on this album to write more personal lyrics, right? I think traditionally when you go back and listen to the first 4 records, he writes about things. This time he's actually taking personal feelings. So this song is more so about his mother dying, and he and his family were very big into Christian Science. And so, the belief in, forgive me if I butcher this, but my understanding of this is the belief of this is that you don't need doctors, that Christ will heal you. You just got to believe and do all the other rigmarole that goes along with that. Yeah,
it's like a faith-based take on it.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, James Hetfield's mom died, and so he
didn't
basically
particularly like that.
No, yeah, he was not a big fan of that of following that faith there. So that's kind of what this song is written about, is the God that failed. And I always think about like lyrics that, like, when you hear them, you're like, holy shit, right? And so every time I hear the healing hand held back by the deepened nail, man, like that's the single best lyric on this entire album for me.
And you're not even a lyric guy normally.
I'm not. I don't like. There's a lot of Metallica songs that I find myself where I'm like, fuck, why don't I know this fucking song? Like, I've listened to this shit 1,000 fucking million times in 30 years, and I don't know the fucking words to all these songs. But like this song, I fucking do, and it's so good. The solo, it's a good like 2-part solo, very very good. And there's a good little musical moment at about the 4-minute mark where you get that little pause and you hear just like some random yell in the background. Yeah. Fuck, I love that part, man. I crank that shit every time.
I'll say this about this song. This is one of the few songs that I can lose my voice on.
Yeah.
Because it's so singable. If that's a proper word. But you can, your everyday Joe can almost sing this song. So you feel so good singing it. And the chorus, with the slight pauses in between the lines so that you get that hard guitar. And it's just like, I mean, you can't just listen to this song without like really cranking up the radio.
Yeah.
No.
It's except unfortunately this would have never been a lead single because of the lyrical content, obviously, but it definitely could have been.
Yeah. I believe this one was on our top 32, right?
It was.
Yeah.
And it's my second favorite song from the record. My first my pick for this is probably going to shock you guys, but we'll get there.
We'll see. All right. And by the way, writing credits on that song, just Hetfield and Ulrich on that one. All right, so we go into the generally regarded worst song on the album here. That's Of Wolf and Man.
Can we skip it?
Yeah, so just real quick here, we'll spend a little bit of time on it. This is writing credits, Hetfield, Ulrich, and Hammett. They get credit on this one. I had a couple of quick notes. I love the intro for this song. I wrote down, what the fuck is this song even about? It just kind of feels like album filler. And then I asked a question on here is, how does this song even make it on S&M? Like, how was that a thing?
Yeah, that is always like, okay, so when I look at the when I look at the original S&M like track listing, like there were songs they left out like from their catalog like why didn't they do Fade to Black?
Yeah, or do My Friend in Misery.
Yeah, if you just had to pick from this album, there was like 6
other good songs.
Well, I mean they did some of them, right? So I mean, like there was like 6 other songs that they could have picked from this record that they didn't pick. It's not this song, and I will say this: the S&M version is probably even worse than the
original.
It's not good.
I mean, you only get the one memorable moment from Jason Newsted on there. We got any wolves out there?
Oh, and
that's the only memorable moment from that whole thing. Other than that, it's like, oh, come on. Like I fast forward to that part sometimes.
You do wonder.
Other than that, I'm out.
Yeah, you do wonder when they do something like this to a song. Let's just say this one, for instance. Like there has to be a story behind it.
Were they just trying to give a song that they knew wasn't great? Like, were they trying to give it that boost? Or like, all right, look, let's just include it on S&M, and maybe there's some people out there like who are really into this song. Like, it's a super deep cut for them, and like nobody ever talks about a Wolfen Man. Fuck it, we're doing it. Yeah. Or it almost seems like somebody lost a bet, and that's why this song is on here.
They were like, okay, look, let's just draw numbers, and we'll get this one. And then they pulled it and we're like, 2 out of 3? Nah.
Yeah, it's coming down to either Escape or a Wolfen Man. Come on, Escape. Come on.
And James is like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, fuck that. Now, Dave, let me ask you kind of a question here. While we're doing this journey through Megadeth, in a separate little podcast here, but of Wolfen Man, right? Let's just compare this album to Countdown to Extinction because, look, Dave Mustaine put himself in that conversation when he made that song or that album. We know that there are some absolute shit songs on that album. Is Of Wolfen Man better than High Speed Dirt?
Golly.
Now, let me ask you a question. Was I lagging there that took you that long, or was that just like thought?
It's thought.
No.
It's thought.
Like you hit
okay.
Okay. I won't drag this out. Man, they're both garbage for different reasons. They're both garbage for different answers, but I think Of Wolfen Man just edges it out. Like if I'm going on a scale of 10. This is like a 3.9, and High Speed Dirt's like a 3.8. Like they're both terrible. Like not good.
Yeah, I found myself thinking about Megadeth while I was going through listening to this again and thinking like, I wasn't listening to as much Metallica while we've been listening to Megadeth, and I'm sorry for this very quick sidebar here, but going back and listening to this, I just remember again what I already knew, that God damn it, Metallica is so much fucking better than Megadeth. The songwriting is so much better. The fucking playing is so much better. The vocal. I mean, it's not even a contest between these two albums. It's not. And anybody who says it is just bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll get there at some point, but I mean, if you're only comparing this album to Countdown to Extinction, then I would say in general, yes. Then I would say in general, yes, this album it trumps that other one.
Yeah, not by a ton. Jason, anything extra on Wolfen Man?
Nope, not a lot of stuff that I actually enjoy about the song.
Perfect. Cool. Let's jump ahead here to this is definitely one of the biggest songs Metallica's ever written. Nothing Else Matters. And writing credit wise, this has Hetfield and Ulrich and Dave. I feel like this is a song you were alluding to earlier.
Nope, it's not. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I just put down in my notes that while God That Failed is my favorite song on the album, I think this might be the best song on the album. Just in general, with all the production that went into it, all the feeling of the song. I think the guitar solo, although this is a Kirk Hammett special, just a short, sweet Hetfield solo, which you don't get very often.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very, very bluesy, full of soul. I going back and like hearing this a lot more in the last few days, and really hearing like some of the versions that have been coming out from the Blacklist that Metallica's doing coming up here in September. I've got not like a renewed appreciation because I've always loved this song, but I've listened to this song a lot in the last few months, more so than I probably have in the last few years. And man, this song just really kind of hitting different for me lately. I find myself a little bit shocked that we did not have this included on our Metallica bracket.
I think part of it is that prior to listening to it, and I agree with you, Josh, completely. I think hearing other people's interpretations of the song brought a renewed interest into this song for me. Prior to this, I really wasn't. I was like, nothing else matters. That's just, that's this Metallica's ballad, and like it's good. It's nice radio song. Like it's probably the only Metallica song that my wife will actually like listen to and can stand. I really love the lyrics on this. Like it's a very good sing along. But Jason, I know this is gonna hurt your feelings, but at this point, I think I may actually prefer the Miley Cyrus version of this song than the Metallica version. I gotta be honest with you.
Stop.
I listened to after we're going through and I'm listening to this album, I get to this song, I listen to Metallica's version, and right after that version plays, I go ahead and I put it on the Miley Cyrus version again because it kind of like sparked my interest in that. And dude, like I just think the Miley Cyrus version is probably my preferred version of this song at this point in my life.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. I can't wrap my head around the fucking Human Fossil and his bullshit opinion on that song. But
I can't stand.
It's so good.
Stand the way she sings that song.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know you don't like good vocals.
Yeah.
Not when it's. No.
So singing, basically, yeah.
Miley was that you?
Carrying a tone and singing and vibrating song.
It's called vibrato.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Oh, you don't like it, but it's part of singing.
Oh, I agree. I don't care for it.
Jason, do you like Aaron Neville?
Probably not. No, I'm not
He's
kidding.
The king
like
of vibrato, bro.
Like I honestly don't care for that style of singing. And so it really depends on, I guess, the song that they're trying to sing. But in this instance, like, I was 17 when the original came out, and you're just not going to improve on that song. So, Dave, you can have your opinion. It's fine. I mean, she didn't butcher it. I don't like her singing style on that song.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think Nothing Else Matters is a great song. It's always a crowd pleaser, when they bust out the acoustic live and then to start the song, because you kind of know it's coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to step away for a minute. Fossil, you good?
There is a nugget for this song. Nothing Else Matters.
Okay.
Hit me.
James actually wrote the song track for A Missing Friend. He, I guess, said, I'm trying to see exactly. It says that he wrote it in a hotel room, and that he had written it, the track for A Missing Friend. I don't know what the deal was on The Missing Friend. I don't know if he goes that far into it, but I guess he'd been missing for a bit of a while, I guess. But I don't know exactly who the friend was or if it goes into great detail. I just know that it was inspired by a friend of his that had been missing.
Yeah, when you hear him talking about this song on video, he just talks about really stumbling into the chord progression of just plucking the open strings. And then he kind of, as he's playing around with it a little bit, he talks about he's on the phone while he's around with it. Wait, I'm going to have to go real quick. And he gets off the phone with whoever, and he just starts really kind of putting together the little pull-offs and things like that on it. So he doesn't, when you hear him talk about it on video, he doesn't describe necessarily, other than saying it's about missing your chick or anything like that. He doesn't go into any other deep thing about a missing friend, but he just does talk about like just stumbling onto the chord progression and just kind of going from there. So I don't know. There could have been the other underlying theme, and he just didn't share it on video.
Maybe.
So the next track on here, this is a fucking banger, man. You got Through the Never. Songwriting credits on here. You got Hetfield, Ulrich.
Yeah, Through the Never. I always liked this song. I like that it's up tempo. It's always a good headbanger. I remember when I was I'm gonna call myself out here. I'm gonna call out my young self. I don't remember the number of times that it took to figure it out, but I remember the moment of clarity when I realized when he said third stone from the sun, he was talking about Earth.
Yeah.
I don't. Again, this is like young.
Was it like matched up with a TV show at the same time?
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was Third Rock from the Sun, and I just remember like it was like on our home, third stone. Because at the time, I'm just singing lyric. I'm just singing to sing, right? I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying. And then I was like, third stone from the sun, and I'm like, oh, he's talking about Earth. And I'm like, yeah, there. Good job, me. Like, hello, me.
Did you feel like the light bulb went off? You're like, damn.
No, I literally remember thinking to myself, God, I'm an idiot. Yeah.
The first of many times.
Yeah, it doesn't end. But I do like the song a lot.
Yeah, I find like just the fucking intro so good. So it just comes in right off the top rope, super quick. You get a really tasty like halftime groove during the fucking verse, which is just instantly just a great fucking headbanger. And I find this song is just like this is probably the catchiest heavy song that I can think of in their catalog. Like just the sing along, I guess I referenced something Jason said earlier, the singability of the song, but like just being able to follow along with it and chant with it and everything.
Yeah,
I just think this is like a very, very cool song.
Yeah, the lyrics are not like overly complicated, and they're not sung at such a pace that you can't keep up or figure it out. And so it makes it really singable for a thrashy song.
Yeah, I love my favorite part of the song.
I can't remember if this was on our list or not.
I don't think so.
I don't think it was. My favorite part of the song is at the kind of breakdown at the end where it's like, on through the never, we must go.
He must go.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. That part is, and then obviously the end when he goes never, and then it goes right into Nothing Else Matters.
Good.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, we're talking about a different part. I like the way he does that little chug thing before he goes back into the main riff, and then it ends on that.
Yeah, the last time that they go through that on through the never must go, they do it like the double time. The next time it's like they sing it just a little bit higher. It's so good.
Yeah.
Good
this
song.
This is just your good like middle of the road song. Nothing fancy.
Checks all the
not going to be on anybody's top 10 list, but man, just a good fucking song.
Yeah, dude, it checks all the boxes.
All right.
Can we skip the next song?
No.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it quickly here for me, hopefully. So, Don't Tread on Me. This is a Hetfield and Ulrich joint. Like I said earlier, for me, worst song on the album. It's corny. Nothing special about the song. This is actually the least played song on the album, along with The Struggle Within. They've only played this song 17 times ever in the history of time, according to this website, which I hope is accurate.
And it's like 17 more times than it needed to be played. Like,
gosh, it was on the internet, so it must.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just give you something to reference here. So they've only played this song 17 times live. They've played Enter Sandman 1,361 times live.
Okay.
So pretty wide delta there.
They've
between
played,
the two songs.
They probably played Enter Sandman more than 17 times in the first month that they started touring on this fucking album.
Oh, absolutely.
So I mean,
absolutely.
I'll say this: the only reason that I didn't pick "Don't Tread on Me," because I think musically, like, I picked "Of Wolf and Man" because I think, like, lyrically it's worse than this, because it just doesn't even remotely make sense to have it be on the record of, like, oh, let's talk about werewolves randomly. Like, "Don't Tread on Me," like, this almost seems like these lyrics were thrown away from "And Justice for All" because they weren't good enough to be for that record. And then randomly James is like, hey, James, we need lyrics for this song that we wrote. Okay, I got these ones in the toilet for that didn't make the cut on "And Justice for All" that are about, that type of thematic stuff. Okay, James, just polish those off and use it.
They were going through, like, the Gulf War and stuff at the time, so, like, you do see them watching a lot of news during the recording of the album. So, this is certainly referencing a lot of stuff from that time.
I don't hate this song, but I agree. Like, it's right there. It's right there with of Man and Wolf or Wolf and Man.
I feel like if this song and "Of Wolf and Man" were cut from this album, like, if you just clipped them and you kept the track listing exactly in the same order that it's in now, like, god damn, this record would be so much better. It would go straight from "Wherever I May Roam" into "Through the Never," and then into "Nothing Else Matters," and then straight into "The God That Failed." Like, holy fuck. Yeah. Like, that would have been such a good, like, the back half of the record would have been so much tighter. Like, I feel like this song, "Don't Tread on Me," and "Of Wolf and Man" are what give the back half of this record a bad name.
Yeah.
Like, they drag it down.
I agree. Because, I mean, look, if you look at it, I mean, Jason, your favorite song's on the back half of the album, my favorite song's on the back half of the album, and Dave's second favorite song's on the back half of the album. So, like, we all appreciate, like, what's going on back there, but yeah, it's a bit of a slog once you get past "Wherever I May Roam" on a couple of these.
I forgot how many songs were on this record. That's one thing I noticed.
Yeah. Speaking of "Wherever I May Roam," that's our number 5 song here. And I would say this is, obviously this is the 5th song on the album, and so I would say the top 5 songs on this album, the first 5, are probably the most listened to, obviously, of this album, and some of the most overplayed songs, as we'll get into on some of these, I think we'll find. But
okay,
"Wherever I May Roam," this is written by Hetfield and Ulrich. Go ahead, Dave.
So, I had a lot of debate with myself on what's my favorite track for the record.
Oh, this is a song, huh?
So yes, so this is gonna be my favorite track on the record. Now, I have to put an asterisk because it's not. It is overplayed. And it is not something I gravitate towards necessarily. But when going through the record multiple times today, like, this song just has fucking everything. It has great lyrics. It has a very unique opening of the song.
The 12-string of the bass.
Yeah. The sitar, I believe, or something like that.
Those are the sitar, and there's, like, that little, as Jason Newsted describes it, the kajong note in there. That's a 12-string bass that he's using on that.
I love the lyrics. All the lyrics are good. It has, like, I think one of the only, if not only, double bass usage in the entire album, which is at the end. And I think it has probably one of the top 5. I mean, it's hard. I can't even say top 5. It has one of the greatest Kirk Hammett guitar solos of all time. And so I just think with everything, like, just, I don't know why I'm never gonna ride a motorcycle. I never want to ride a motorcycle necessarily. But I always imagine, like, whenever I hear this song, I can't get out of my head of somebody or me being on a motorcycle, fucking leather jacket, going down a fucking desert highway.
And your assless chaps.
I mean, sure.
Oh.
If that fits your fantasy, Jason, then I'll do it for you. But yeah, no, I I know I'm gonna get eye rolls from Adrian and from some other listeners, but like, yeah, the song's played out, but it's fucking played out for a reason. The shit's good. Like, it's a good ass song.
It is.
Go ahead, Fossil.
It's a solid song, man, start to finish. I wouldn't say it's wordy, but I'm trying to, there's like you were saying earlier, where there are songs where you're like, I've listened to this 1,000 times. How do I not know the song? This is one of those songs where I feel as though I've never looked at the lyric sheet, but I feel like I know every word of this song. Now, I wouldn't say by heart, because I'm terrible by singing by heart. But like when you put the song on, you start singing along. It's like, and I know every word of this song.
Yeah,
it's solid, man.
Yeah. I just put in here, so like particularly what I love about this song is the feel of the song during the verses, when it goes down, like when you just have like you got the long drawn out power chord over the top of it, and they're just playing like the little clean notes that go along with it, and you get just and the road becomes my bride, right? Like just the whole feel of the verse.
Dude, the first part, like literally the first couple lines where it's like, and the road becomes my bride, and then Hetfield comes in like, and the road becomes my bride. And like it fucking kicks. It's like a knife, like how sharp his vocals come in. It's so good, dude. Oh man.
Yeah. So I think the verses for me really make the song. I just love how they sound. Dave, you referenced the guitar solo. This solo spans like the full last 2 minutes of the song. You get a small break in there, but I mean, this thing is like, it's ripping all the way basically to the very, very end of the song as it fades out.
Yeah, I'll say that the guitar lick, you get out of the call me what you will. It's like,
Dude, like,
I mean, that shit's so good.
And the crazy part is like, Kirk Hammett had to be pushed super hard to get this solo out of him. Like, they basically just kept shitting on him until he busted this one out.
Yeah.
And so it was good.
Yeah. I think this is probably the second most overplayed song for me. If anybody's ever listened to 94.5 The Buzz out here in Houston, this seems to be like the only Metallica song they have on tap most of the time.
This song,
but you know, it's still a great song, and I don't skip it.
This song and Glycerine.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Or then
whatever.
Yeah. Or any Red Hot Chili Peppers song in existence.
I was gonna say, or anything off the Possum Kingdom from Toadies. I think this is the best live song on the album for sure. Like if you go and you wanted to pick one live song from this album, for something about this song and just the way they play it, man, it fucking crushes live.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So we get next song here is The Unforgiven. This is Hetfield, Ulrich, and Hammett has writing credit on this one.
Great song.
Great music video.
Yeah, you know what? I was really dreading talking about this song. So for me, this has been probably the most overplayed song on the album throughout the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still,
I don't know. It really is good, and I don't know, man. There was something about it for a long time. I couldn't. Excuse me. I couldn't appreciate the song anymore because I just felt like I was just getting crammed down my throat. But I've probably listened to this. Like, it was funny. I was when we decided to do this, we were going to get breakfast. Me and Amanda were going to get breakfast. So I was just playing the album, and this song comes on, and I'm like, fucking over here headbanging. I'm singing the fucking all the words, and I look over. I was like, man, this song is so overplayed. It's like I'm not even that interested in the song anymore. And I'm over here playing drums on her fucking leg. And I'm singing along, and then she's like, "Are you sure you don't like this song?" I was like,
I guess I do.
Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I do.
Dude, I mean, the song.
I don't know, man. Something about it. Oh, go ahead.
The way it comes in too is so good too. Like, it comes in real heavy with that first verse.
All right, look. So I was in high school when this album came out, and I was there when everybody woke up the next morning and Metallica was like a thing. They were so much a thing that The Unforgiven was in the finalist for my class song when I graduated.
Wow. That's just crazy. Like
it is. Like
know.
when you think about that a heavy metal band almost was our class song.
Times have changed.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think just one last thought I had on this song is I think this is Kirk Hammett's shining moment on this album.
Oh,
this solo,
yeah,
this solo crushes. I think this is the best solo on the album, and I think that's really saying something because, like we said, I think Kirk Hammett's the MVP of this record. But man, he crushes this solo.
Oh, dude, and it's got so much soul in it. Like,
yeah,
like that's one thing. Look, you can say what you want about current day Kirk Hammett, okay, and
all the wah pedal and stuff.
But, yeah, and all the memes and everything, and like he's lost his touch. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
When you become 80 years old, let's see how you crank out. So,
but Kirk Hammett is rightfully going to go down as one of the greatest just guitar players, but specifically one of the greatest, most influential heavy metal lead guitarists of all time. And it's songs like this, like you just hear, like I don't know that anyone else could have made a better solo that made it so perfect for this song. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, and then the vocals, just untouchable.
Yep, I agree.
We can go to the next.
All right.
This song was going to be their lead single.
Yeah, so Holier Than Thou. So this is just Hetfield and Ulrich here. That was the first note I had, was that Bob Rock was pushing for this song to be the first song, not only on the album, but also the lead single. Going back and thinking about it, I wish this was the first song on the album. I think this would be a fucking great opener for the album. Maybe not. I mean, obviously the right choice was Sandman for the lead single, but I mean, I think just the intro to this fucking album crushes. This is the shortest song on the album. It doesn't slow down. You got some cool instrumental stuff in here with the use of the talks during the intro for the main riff. And you get a good little Jason Newsted bass solo there at the end before it goes right back into the main riff. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's a
again, like just a good little fucking heavy song.
The funny thing is this never ironically this never even ended up being a single. Nope. To my knowledge, like they never made a music video for it or anything like that, and this was the one that Bob Rock wanted to push out first. If I'm not mistaken, and this might be an incorrect story at this point because I'm going off of like antiquated knowledge, but I believe it was the record company that stepped in and basically decided not to, or was it the band? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Well, Lars was like, "What are you thinking?" Like, it's very clearly Enter Sandman.
Yeah, got it. Okay,
is going to be the lead single here. Yeah, so it was Lars the whole time.
Thank goodness.
Hey, look, you can talk about Lars' ability as a drummer, and you can talk about Napster and all that stuff, but like Lars is not stupid.
Look. I think all of us can agree, at least on this point. Up to this point, like in Metallica's career, all three of the members of this band that are still in this band now were at their peak, right? Like this was.
Yes.
This was before any of them, lost, quote unquote, lost playing ability or credibility or whatever. Like,
everybody gets old, man.
This was peak performance Metallica. Yep. So, they made the right call. I mean, but the song, as far as Holier Than Thou, I think I never skip it. It's a great song, and it's just
great chorus, easy to sing along to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're almost done.
All right, coming up here. Yep. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Next song is Sad But True. So this is Hetfield and Ulrich. have writing credits on this one. I mean, fuck, dude. What a heavy intro.
Yep.
Not much going on. Just a couple of fucking power chords being strung out there a little bit, but man.
So
and then you get the little drum lick there. That da 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 da. Oh man!
Don't tell me.
Come on.
Don't fucking lie to me and tell me that you, even though you guys aren't drummers, that every time this song comes on, if you have free hands,
every time
you try to fucking hit it on time.
Every time.
So now I want to. This is a sidebar, but it is related to this song, and I almost can't listen to this song, and it's fucking Kid Rock's fault. Okay.
American Badass. That's a great song.
No, it's not. And okay, I'll say it's not, even though I know all the lyrics to it. But dude, when this comes on, like literally when this comes on, and it's like. I literally just start, like, whenever we were doing this, I started singing the American Badass lyrics, and I pour out these stage in all my two hands. Like, I don't even know that. I know I'm not singing the correct lyrics.
We travel this land packed tight in minivans.
All this for the fans, the girls, the money, fame. And dude, like, and then whenever the music stops, I go, are you scared? Because the fucking Undertaker vocals.
Yeah.
And then it goes,
yeah.
And American Bad. Dude, like I just sing that song instead. And I can't fucking help it. So fuck you, Kid Rock, and your shitty ass music for ruining a good Metallica song.
Oh man, I didn't hear that. I think this is probably the second best solo on the album. I think the solo on this is fucking so good. And there's a lot of conversation about this. Yeah. There's a lot of conversations about this when you go back and watch some of the making of videos. Like, I think the band, this is a good representation of the band versus Bob Rock. Is the band really wants to play this song a lot faster. And you hear a demo of them playing it fast, and man, it sounds like shit. Like, it just sounds like super upbeat, super happy. And then it immediately cuts to the version that they recorded in, the tempo that they recorded it in, and it's so much better. So I'm just really glad they chose like this more laid back tempo.
Oh, for sure. I think this lyrically might be my favorite. Some of my favorite lyrics in the band, in the album.
I agree. This song right here is probably, in my opinion, the best lyrically written.
Yeah, it's super good.
Yeah.
And very, very easy to sing along. I mean, at this point, all these songs are good for a stadium. But I mean, this is also probably, I don't know if you said it already, but it's got to be one of their most played songs of all time.
Yeah. So just since we're here, obviously, Enter Sandman is the most played song live at 1,361 times. Sad But True, not that far behind, played the second most times off the album, 1,340.
Wow.
Okay, so they basically don't ever not play this song.
One without the other.
Yeah. And then you have Nothing Else Matters at 1,236. Those three songs are the ones they played over 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they've done enough tours and enough shows to know that they didn't play this song every time, but to still have it 1,300 times is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the song is great. I mean, they had to fucking use like a third guitar in order to get that crunch on it. I mean, it needs it. I mean, not needs it, but I mean, it makes it. It sounds so fucking heavy.
Yeah.
Out of all of the songs that I would say are overplayed, but prior to this, us listening to it, this was the one I probably skipped the least of the overplayed like singles. Because I just like Sad But True. It just always sounds good. That main riff is just so fucking heavy. And I love the lyrics. The lyrics just are so good to me. And you know, as a drummer, I always fucking air drum the shit out of this song. So
yeah. Just in case anybody out there was wondering, hey, what's the most played Metallica song of all time? Master of Puppets is the answer to that question. 1,687 times.
Damn.
I would not have expected that, but that is a good one to play a lot. It's a good song.
Yeah.
I feel like that that almost tells me that they don't play a single show without playing that song.
Yeah. Yeah, so the sixth song they play the most is Enter Sandman. So the top 5 songs are Master Puppets, Creeping Death, Seek and Destroy, Bells, and One.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, hey, the main event, the song you've all been waiting for, the best song on the one of the best songs on the album, Enter Sandman. So writing credits, like we kind of referenced early on, you got Hetfield, Ulrich, and look, the main riff belongs to Kirk Hammett.
Man,
regardless of what anybody else thinks about Kirk Hammett and his abilities.
I'm about to talk shit about Kirk Hammett here in a second because the way he originally wrote the song would have been not good. So thank God, Lars Ulrich.
I do have I do have a tidbit.
Do it.
So, Kurt Hammett admitted some rarely known truths about the track. This is his direct quote in a article that he did. I think its time has come to reveal where I actually got the lick before the breakdown in Enter Sandman. He told, I guess, an interview with Guitar World, it's from Magic Man by Hart, but I didn't get it from Hart's version. I got it from a cut-off Ice-T's Power album, where he sampled it. I heard it, and I thought, I have to snake this. So, whatever.
My man, solid choice.
Yeah, so that's where the original inspiration came from, I guess. I'll have to go. I'll have to go look that up.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about this song when I was 11 that just fucking grabbed me by the nuts, man. But like I didn't grow up in a household that was really listening to hard rock metal. My mom listened to like Nirvana and some of that stuff, but my dad was real big into fucking country. So I don't know if it was just like, the difference, right? Like just wanting to listen to something different than what your parents listened to, or what. But I mean, like without trying to be exaggerated or dramatic, this song changed my life. Because I was not listening to metal before this, and I haven't stopped listening to metal since I listened to this song.
Dude, this song changed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
So, just not to even dissect the song. I mean, obviously, fucking great riff. Yep. As much as anybody wants to say, I've heard this song a million times, you can't fucking deny how good that riff is.
Yeah.
Whenever it kicks into the electric guitar.
There's no way to know this, and it may not be true today, but
like most famous.
No, I was gonna say
or well known.
This might be one of the, if you could track how often this is somebody's first metal like lick or riff that they learn when they're learning to play the guitar.
Yeah.
Like this has got to be up there.
It was one of the first ones that I learned. I mean, it's easy. It's easy to play.
Just the opening, like just the opening picking.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be one of the most popular things to learn first when you're picking up the guitar for the first time.
Yeah.
But
no, it definitely is.
And go ahead.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I'll say like the accompanying music video for this was I just stands out for me so well. Like I just remember, I distinctly remember when the kid's running from the bed and this fucking giant
18-wheeler
just destroy like is coming towards him, and I just thought I think it.
And it hits the bed in perfect time with the boom.
Yes. It's just such a good video, and a lot of strobe light and a lot of like just darkness. I don't know.
A lot of epilepsy.
Yeah, for real. It'll fuck you up.
Yeah.
But no, it's just the song is super good, and I even like the part where it's like, now I lay me down to sleep, like with the little kid singing and shit, or not singing, but talking.
Praying, Dave.
Yes. All that shit, so fucking good.
Yeah, we talked about this, or I talked about this because I was kind of in high school when it hit. It's hard to say stuff like this and not make it sound like I'm exaggerating. But this song literally changed, like, and I know this is going to sound so stupid, but it changed everything overnight. This album and this song came at the perfect moment in time. People were ready to migrate from the music that came before it into whatever came after. And there were people that I would never in a million years have pointed to and said, oh yeah, they listen to heavy metal. Or they listen to Metallica. And then the next day, everybody did. Like, everybody did. There was nobody that I knew that didn't know or own this album.
So, I agree with everything you said, Jason. Now, I have to bring this up because I have a little bit of a hatred for this song. So small backstory. My favorite Metallica song of all time is "Fade to Black." I think it's probably Metallica's magnum opus. The guys here, the guys here, we're aware of that, which is probably my fault. They were aware of that during our grand Metallica bracket. And wouldn't you know...
This is the best moment of the bracket by far.
Wouldn't you know... Somehow,
39 minutes into the first episode, if you want to
somehow, kind of like somehow I got hit with a sandwich. Somehow this song got paired up with "Fade to Black," and they, Josh,
kind of like
Josh. If you don't know how our brackets work, we quote unquote don't know what is gonna come up next on these things. Okay, so Josh is losing it. Before he's like you got to listen to it. But basically, he's fucking crying while he's trying in laughter, explaining that it's Enter Sandman versus Fade to Black, and there's three of us, so I'm voting Fade to Black, and it doesn't move on. It doesn't move on. So from
it's kind of like that situation, Dave, where early in the bracket, and you were like, if Raisin Bran Crunch was not going against Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the first round, it would have gone all the way to the finals.
Yeah, but these guys
you guys don't hold grudges at all.
These guys want to ruin my life, and but it did make for a funny moment. But I now kind of have a little bit of a hatred for Enter Sandman for the rest of my days, because I think that was round one. So my favorite song didn't even get it out of the gate.
I don't think my favorite song got it out of the first round.
Yeah, but you have terrible taste in songs, so it didn't count anyway.
No, I don't. I'm
just kidding.
Hey, my favorite song won the whole bracket, so I'm not mad.
So I have one little.
I don't even want to talk about that.
From this song, the inspiration for this song, from James Hetfield, for the lyrics, is based on crib death. And in 2007, James Hetfield talked about the lyrics of the song. He says, a baby suddenly dies.
About SIDS?
Sandman.
What are you talking about? Sudden infant death syndrome? What are you talking about? Crib death?
Yes, crib death. Okay. That's what this song was based on. And he said, and this is his words, he says, a baby suddenly dies. The Sandman killed it. Now, as you might agree, that the lyrics written by Hetfield are grim. And although Bob Rock and Lars are both told James that these aren't as good as they could be. James pushed back at the time, saying that pissed me off so much. I was like, "Fuck you! I'm the writer here," and that's how the song continued on to this path.
Nice.
All right.
So he pulled a power play on the lyrics and said, "Nope, we're keeping it just the way it is."
I mean, it worked out.
Yeah,
They're good.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a solid choice. It's, almost 17 million copies of
exactly.
the US. It's pretty fucking good. I think they've sold like 30 million worldwide. No big deal.
Man,
yeah. One last quick anecdote here. I was just thinking, while I was talking about like this is the album that really got me into metal. It's funny is like Amanda's not really into that kind of music, and I found her more recently as I've been listening to this. Like some of the songs come on, she's humming along to them, she's singing along to them. I'm like,
yeah,
You're working it.
I've almost got her.
You're working on it.
Yeah. So this album could be the gateway for her to get into at least maybe hard rock. Let's not go into metal.
not
Yeah,
crazy.
don't get crazy here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not going to be listening to this and breaking down the Slayer podcast.
Yeah, she's not going to be like, I think Symbolic really is the second best album of all time for heavy metal. I mean, Symbolic is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
So you're
I'll tell you what did happen though.
Josh, you're gonna be doing something. You're gonna come across some of her personal stuff and move it out of the way, and you're gonna find that Morbid Angel CD.
Yeah. Like, oh shit, what the fuck? Yeah.
Hey.
I'll tell you what did happen though. Is I think we completed another podcast.
About time.
Yeah,
Jesus
we did.
Christ.
I think we did it.
So just a reminder.
Just for go ahead, Dave.
A reminder, we're going to be doing what's the next podcast we're doing next week? Bringing Up Baby.
You're doing this shit. You don't even know what it is.
Bringing Up
Baby,
Yeah,
the
that's
1938 classic.
Oh,
Classic.
man. It's so fun. I
Oh.
haven't seen it yet, but we'll see.
Did I
So
know?
watch that shit. It's supposed to be a comedy, so it should be pretty good.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
there's nothing hits as hard as 1938 comedy.
Oh, yeah. You remember that year.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Take it
Good
easy,
year.
everybody.
Later.